if you wanted to try and beat Mage, Mike, with any of the 7 other horses in this race, and I know you think Mage is going to win, if you had to make a case for another horse, which one would it be and why?
There are 2 horses I think you can make a logical case for. The first one, On the Rail, National Treasure, Bob Baffert trains, John Velasquez rides. There's not a ton of pace in this race. And drawing that one post, National Treasure should go. He's also adding blinkers for this race. He's only worn blinkers twice prior in his career. One of those 2 was a gate-to-wire win in his maiden-breaking score. I think he sends, if National Treasure gets to the turn first, which I think is highly likely, and no one really presses him once he gets there, he's going to get loose out there and get comfortable, and that makes him very, very, very scary. If you look at the 8 First Mission, who a lot of people are picking here, look, First Mission ran against Arabian Lion last time out and beat Arabian Lion by a nose. Arabian Lion is trained by Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert has Arabian Lion on the undercard. He put First Mission in here. That tells you all you need to know about First Mission and National Treasure in this spot. I think National Treasure is the better of the 2 horses. I think he goes to the lead. I think he could take this field gate to wire as a winner. The other one is Perform, the 6 horse who is 15-1. Shug is overplacing this horse. He's the trainer. He doesn't do that very often. And the horse had a ton of trouble in his last race, so the numbers don't really stack up, but the talent is there and the trainer clearly believes. So if you're taking a big shot, I think the 6 at 15-1 is interesting. I think the 1 is probably the second most likely winner, though.
Mike, we had, I know you listen to the show all the time, and we appreciate you for that. And hopefully you listen to the non-sports stuff as much as the sports stuff. We ended up doing like an hour yesterday driven by a topic driven by the 4-horse Coffee with Chris. Essentially, like, which Chris's would we want to have coffee with? And we told ourselves on the show, when we have you on, we have to ask, because like, and my point was like, all right, I don't want to bet this horse to win, but now that we've done an hour on it, should we have a bet on him to show, or like something like that? He's a big price. He'll pay whatever, 3-1 to show, 4-1, depends on who comes in first and second. Is there like any chance that Coffee with Chris can hit the board? Or like maybe the case is just it's a horse race and it's really random? I have to ask you about Coffee with Chris before we do other stuff.
You probably have a better chance of getting Coffee with Chris Jenner than he does hitting the board on Saturday.
I'm working on it.
So that would be where I'd go with that. Look, he wants to be on the lead. He's the 3rd fastest horse in the race. It's going to be hard for him to get a mile and 3/16. If you want to go crazy, I'm going to give you out a superfecta soon. If you want to go crazy, throw him in the 3rd and 4th spot in the super. He could blow that thing up. He could pay a ton of money.
Which Chris would you want to have coffee with? And then we'll get to the rest of the bets.
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I guess... I guess Chris Jenner of the choices you gave me yesterday, but Chris McCarron, Hall of Fame jockey, would have been an excellent one to throw on that list as well.
Okay, Chris McCarron.
Is that the 10 horse racing Chris? Is there another Chris that's like who's the most famous horse racing Chris? Is that it? Chris McCarron? I've never heard of Chris McCarron, but I also don't know
probably Chris McCarron. Very good at Santa Anita. Won a couple Triple Crown races in the late 90s or early 90s. So he's probably the most well-known Chris I can think of off the top of my head.
And Mike, it's all, like you mentioned, such a different dynamic, right? Like, so the Derby, all we have is the tune-up races. We don't really have anything like of substance, I guess would be the right way to put it, or like any like big races. And now we have one, and the winner of the Derby will almost always run in the Preakness. So in the Derby, it's just kind of like, who do you like? And all the options and all the different horses. And then the Preakness, it's kind of like, am I going with the horse that won the Derby, who will always be like a big favorite? Or am I going somewhere else against the favorite in some way? Do you, before we kind of get into the exact specifics of your betting card, do you see yourself more being with Mage as we head into the second leg of the Triple Crown, or trying to fade Mage?
It's been an interesting just week for me handicapping this specific race. When you look at Mage, only 4th career start in that Kentucky Derby, ran by far his biggest race of his career, 2-week turnaround for a smaller horse. A lot of times your biggest concern is that he's going to bounce off of that race, meaning that he's going to regress and not run nearly as well because of the quick turnaround and how much that the Derby took out of him. When you go back and you watch that Derby, he did it on his own around the far turn. Castellano only whipped him once in the stretch. Everyone else is riding hard, trying to get more out of the horse. They didn't go to the bottom of the barrel for Mage. And since then, Mage has worked out very well, looks very happy, very healthy, did not lose much weight out of the race, which is shocking. So it's hard for me to go against Mage, especially when we only have 8 horses in this field. All 7 of the other horses didn't run in the Derby. And there really isn't that rock star new shooter that's coming in here that can try and take him on. So for me, we went to the wedding with Mage. We got that 15-1 price. We can back Mage a little bit easier here, even though we're going to get a shorter price. I'm guessing it's probably going to be around 6-5 even money on race day.
Hopkins put out that social media video being like, oh, everyone thought I wanted out. I'm still here. Like hashtag go birds or whatever it was that he posted, something stupid. If I had to guess, and I have no inside information, I wish I did. If I did, I'd say it was inside information. This is just my thought. I don't think he's going to be on the team this year. I think at some point in like training camp or prior to training camp, a team will make an offer for DeAndre Hopkins and he will not be on the Arizona Cardinals. What is the point of the Cardinals having DeAndre Hopkins this year? He's 31 and he's like a malcontent and they're bad. Like there's a recipe for absolute disaster. If you're Jonathan Gannon, you're Monty Ossenfort, and you're trying to rebuild this organization and change the culture in Arizona. That doesn't mean he's a lock like to be elsewhere. Just that I think like if I had to bet, if that or a betting market and I were setting it, I would set the favorite that he's playing elsewhere next year. So I don't know if like what other player Arizona could potentially move. Hopkins is the most high profile one, but like Hopkins gets dealt and it's kind of like a clear, like we are waving the white flag on the season, which I think everyone knows already. Like we know it. Maybe like everyone doesn't know that they're waving the white flag on the season yet. They have no intention of being good this year. They loaded up on picks for next year in various trades, most notably the one with Houston for third overall, and a better draft next year. Did like a great job, by the way, acquiring those assets. I think, Ken, if we're going to have the conversation, where's this number more likely to go? I actually think the Commanders are more likely to be bigger favorites than the Cardinals are to get bad.
If there's kind of like, is that already kind of in this market? Because it's like, oh, well, you know, the Cardinals are expected to be the worst team in the league. Yeah, the Commanders are expected to be the second worst team in the league. Really? I mean, like the third worst team in the league. They went to 6.5. I mean, it's not. This is not like a team with a win total of 8 or 9 as like this kind of a favorite in a game like this. So there's kind of like, is that already kind of in this? How much more would it move if Hopkins got traded? Maybe it would move a little bit. Honestly, the best course of action right now. I should have said this at the jump, but. You should bet the 5.5 at BetMGM, like right now, for whatever they take. You should just bet it.
Now, I think our listeners and viewers know, like, this is your show for Jordan Love and Green Bay Packers optimism this season. Like, we would like for Jordan Love to be good. But I bet the Packers to win the NFC North, like the Packers to go over their win total. What is the best song with Love in the title as we approach the fall of Love here with Jordan quarterbacking the Green Bay Packers? Like for our show gimmick for Jordan Love.
Whoa, man. Like the best, like my favorite song with Love in the title? That I'd actually have to think about. Or just like, what are some famous songs with Love in the title? So like, Crazy in Love, What's Love Got to Do with It? Whole Lot of Love.
Led Zeppelin, nice.
Yeah. Endless Love. Happy. I always think about Happy Gilmore when I think about that. Like the guy at the skating, the hockey rink is like singing it. My endless love.
Yeah, because we're gonna need something. We love Jordan Love on the show. We want Jordan Love to be good this year. Darkness, I Believe in a Thing Called Love is really good. That might be the winner here. Can you do the falsetto?
I knew you were gonna ask. You heard me clear my throat. Probably. Let me see if I can get it. So it's like. Do it. Well, the first part's not there. Like, I believe in a thing called love.
Yes.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Do the first part.
Right. I believe in a thing called love.
That's wrong. I don't know if I can get it.
No. It's just
the rhythm of your heart. Yeah, it's right.
There's a chance we can make it now. The sun goes down. Now believe in it. Down. I need like a major like vocal warm up before I try and hit.
I have bronchitis this week, by the way, for people who couldn't tell. It's antibiotics. Got a couple more days of them, and you can tell.
But imagine like Magnificent Football Monday after Week 1, Packers win. We bet it's like we bet the Packers in the game. They're 1-0. They're gonna go for their win total later in the year. We come on, and I just like in the middle of the show, I'm just like, I believe in a thing called love, and you're just like, just listen to the rhythm of the heart. That might have to be the gimmick. I would say that, or I am very partial to. I've loved this since I was a kid.
Okay.
Actually, I think this song is good, but if like you or someone else said like, actually this song sucks, I'd be like, I understand. Love Shack by the B-52s.